Errored on LinkedIn. Hey, Teen, I'm having an error on LinkedIn. All right, everybody, we will be starting in just a moment. Stick with us, and we will be on to the call. Okay, everybody. Thank you for. All right, everybody. We are going to try to go ahead and get started. We're having some technical difficulties on the LinkedIn side of things, but if you have any comments, drop them over in the comments section, or if you'd like to come up on stage, excited to be here. First of these that I've done on this platform, so that's why we are running a few minutes late, but I'm going to go through our standard presentation and then open up the floor for any questions and thoughts that you all might have to share. And hopefully, this is a nice interactive session where you can get all of the answers you need to decide if this is something you're interested in. I'm super excited about it. Just for a quick intro, my name is Steve Carse. I've been at this for 15 years. I started in a very similar situation, slinging pops out of the exact same type of cart on a street corner in Atlanta. And I sat at that street corner for 3 years, built a business around it, and finally made it kind of to where we are today. So, super excited about this. Would love to answer questions and kind of make it interactive as we go. But I will go ahead and get started with our presentation. Here we go. I'm going to try one more time to get LinkedIn going. And then we will jump in. So let me try one more time. It keeps saying it's erroring. Yeah, so no luck on LinkedIn. So I'm sorry for if your buddies are over there, encourage them to go over to Facebook or YouTube. Seems to be working well there. We're going to jump right in and talk about what is kind of usually top of mind for people that are just figuring out about the system, how our territories work. So it's a really simple system, but people always have questions about it, and they always think their territory is unique, which it is. Territories are built by zip codes. So every address has a zip code, and each zip code is associated with a territory, and you can own territories. Each territory is between 75 and 100,000 people. Some zip codes are large, some are small, and so this is how we manage that. Your territory is yours, so you will be the person to do King of Pops cart events in that territory. You can also sell wholesale pops out of chest freezers in that territory. And in addition to your own territory, we have a pretty complicated, maybe complicated is the wrong way to put it, but a system set up to, hey, what's up, Marcos? Great to see you. We have a system set up where you can do deals outside of your territory as well. So that has been working well for us, and I will go into that if people have questions about it. I'll share my screen and kind of click through it. But basically, it's a first come, first serve opportunity to do deals outside of your territory. I like to always say if you're planning on building your business in that area, we highly encourage you to own the territory because you never know, someone will buy it. First territory is 9,000. Additional territories are 6,000. And then we also have area development, which is an opportunity to get a larger area, usually 3 to 5, even 6 plus territories. And you pay for the first territory and then 50% of all of the other territories just to hold them. So area development's a great opportunity if you are getting started, you want to get a big area, you know you're all in on this opportunity, but you want to kind of spread out the cost a little bit, open one territory each year. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I can tell that it's working because Marcos Hey, put it up there on the screen. Isn't that fancy? Good to see you from Portugal. You know, I don't have much to say about Portugal other than I'd love to go one day. So hopefully see you over there soon. All right. Next slide is about what you'll need. This business was designed to be very simple, very low cost. I think we're among the lowest cost franchise opportunities that you can get. And this is why. The thing that you're buying from us is the pops, the chalkboard, which you'll see, and the cart, which you'll see here. Awesome. That's great to see. You would buy your own vehicle. Hopefully, you have something that'll work great. A space for storage. A lot of people start in their garage. And then, last but not least, a chest freezer. We recommend having 2 chest freezers. Each chest freezer holds about 2,000 pops if you're getting a large chest freezer, and that tends to be enough. Oh, let me try removing this and re-adding it. I'm sorry, y'all. Got some people on LinkedIn that are trying to get in, so I'm trying my best to get it set up. Okay, maybe that'll be the ticket. But no storefront required. We have a full stack CRM that I'm excited to kind of show you guys a little bit later. Tons of marketing materials. We've been at this for 15 years, so it's been a great ride, and I think only the best things still to come. Cost you need to think about. The other than the pops, you've got the carts. The carts are $17.50 each. They come with 2 cold plates, and it's technically a lease. And the only reason it's really a lease is that if you stop doing this one day, we will take the cart back. If you end up selling your territory, which we've had some people successfully do over the last year, which is really cool to see, those would be transferred at the sale. The carts are simple. They're no electricity. They just use the cold plates. It can kind of get anywhere. It's one of our big advantages. Holds 375 pops if you have it in your boxes. And then if you do need to go to a huge event and unpack it, it can fit up to 600 pops if you take them out of the box. So pretty cool there. Transporting the cart, we talked about that above. That's one of the things I need to do. If you have any type of car or vehicle, you can always use one of these cargo trailers. Works great. We use pickup trucks here, and our franchisees are really, as most people in the world, it seems like these are popular, are leaning into the vans, the transit vans, the Sprinter vans. Great option. I would probably be buying those if I was restarting our fleet. Gets you a lot more flexibility and works really good. Chest freezers, 100 pops per cubic foot. So we recommend being able to store 4,000 pops. So you need 40 cubic feet thereabouts. And most standard chest freezers, the large ones, are just under 20 cubic feet. So that's what we recommend on that side of things. Any questions on this, please don't hesitate to ask. Pop pricing. This is kind of how you're going to build your business. So at the largest discount tier, our tiers are based on order volume. The pops get down to as low as $1.33, and they go up to about $1.70. So within that price range, the more you buy, you get larger discounts. So happy to go through that in more detail. Yeah, great question. I'm going to jump into that just because Wilmer's right here, ready to chat about it. Um, I can send over the FDD. Once you apply, we send it the FDD, and it goes in detail about each territory and how much they sold in 2024. And you'll be able to see at the high end people selling hundreds of thousands of dollars, and at the low end people selling tens of thousands of dollars. That variation is due to a lot of things, and the biggest is how many events are people going to per week. We recommend going, if you don't think you can go to 5 events per week, we don't really think that this is going to be worth it. So 5 events a week is the minimum, and it's also, we're going to get into royalties a little bit later. It's also when we don't charge the minimum royalty if you do go to 5 documented events. So I can go into that in a little bit more detail. Great question to ask on that. And Wilmer, definitely drop in more questions if you've got them. Happy to even have you up on stage. Stephen, based off the territories you showed earlier, are those only locations you can open? I live in Portland, Oregon. If you stick with me, Stephen, I'm going to share the map a little bit later. We do ship to Portland and LA, and we currently furthest west are in Denver, but would love to chat about Portland. I was just in Bend and flew into Portland for a fishing trip with my dad. Would certainly be fun to do out there. So stick with me after I get through this quick presentation, only a couple more slides. I would love to show you a little bit more about that. All right. Pop pricing, item 19. Again, that's what I was talking about for the all the sales information, Wilmer. That's also going to have this pop pricing broken out in a lot more detail. We recommend selling pops for between 4 and 6. We sell them for 7 at a few places like the Atlanta Braves Stadium, or some festivals even where there's like a 25, even 35% commission. We want you to still be profitable. So we don't limit what you can sell at. These are our suggested retail prices. Weekly fees. So we have a 5% royalty versus a minimum. So a minimum royalty is between $100 and $250 weekly. And we land on that number depending on the market. So if you're in a market where we have a large presence and you've got great demographics, it's going to be closer to $200. If you're in an area where no one has heard of King of Pops, or not many people have heard of King of Pops, and the demographics are maybe or not as favorable, it'll start closer to $100. During the pop season, so for example, in Atlanta, the pop season is April through October. We want you to be out and about selling. So that's why we have a minimum royalty, and that is in a way to encourage you to go out. And that's why if you go to 5 events in a week, we won't charge you that minimum royalty if you don't exceed that number. You'll still pay the 5% of your sales, but the minimum would not be applied. It would just be the 5%. Most people we've found, if they are doing 5 events a week, are exceeding that, but it's still something that we've got in place, because as you're starting a market, sometimes it takes a little bit of extra time. Marketing fee, 1% of sales. Let's see. Oops. That's what we're going to use to market your businesses, build the brand, all of those fun things. And then we have a software fee, $12 a week. All of this is all we operate on a weekly Monday through Sunday format. So that's how the fees work every week. We have 15-day terms on the pops when you purchase them. So we're hoping that you can generally sell the pops before those 15-day term hits. But you can also, that'll be auto drafted. We have a couple other options for purchasing the pop. So with credit terms, sorry, got a little bit distracted on this, my first time, like I've been saying. So bear with me. This is an example, because I think minimum royalty is one of the more unique things that we've got set up. Again, the reason for it is that we want people to be out and about. If they are choosing to start this business, we are not interested in having folks that are idle or just kind of do this as a pet project and go out once or twice a month. We want people that are going out regularly, 5 times a week. If you go out 5 times a week, you don't have to worry about the minimum royalties at all. But if you are not, and it's still good to understand that this is a few examples of how it works. Let's say you have a slow week, maybe you're out of town or everything gets canceled or you just didn't schedule anything, and you do $150 in sales and your minimum royalty is 200. So maybe you're in one of those great territories. You're still going to pay a $200 royalty. So that's obviously a bad situation for you, bad situation for everybody. Nobody wants that. Next one, let's say you have a pretty good week. You do $4,100 in sales. It's over that minimum royalty threshold, so you would be charged $205. Even if you did 5 events or 20 events, it wouldn't matter. And then last but not least, if you had a great week, $10,000 in sales, you're going to be charged $500. So hopefully that makes sense. And let's see, Marcos. So many opportunities. He's right. There's all kinds of places to bring pops. Here's another thing you'll see in more detail in the FDD. These are our estimated costs. This is, you kind of want to guess what it's going to cost people. So I'll go through these. And this is for the first 3 months. A big chunk of this, $8,000 worth, is your initial inventory. So you could start with 1,000 or 2,000 pops. It'd be much less there. Signage, freezers, other tech fees, vehicle. You'll see a big variation here because you could need to buy or lease a vehicle or not. Market and advertising. These are all the fees that you should expect to pay in your first 3 months of operation. Obviously, you wouldn't need to buy more pops until you'd sold your first one. So you could probably pay some of this off as you were going if you did need to get $8,000 worth of inventory. All right. And then what does the interview process look like? It is pretty simple. We're a simple business. We've got a simple interview process. You're going to go ahead and apply. That'll trigger us to send the FDD. It's a long-ish document. It's going to ask you to sign it. It's going to ask you to sign the FDD. That's not committing you to anything. It's just acknowledging that you received it. And you have to have that in for at least 14 days before we can finalize a territory sale. Good question that just popped in. What's the turnaround time on pop orders? It depends on where you are. We deliver to the East Coast weekly, oftentimes more than once a week. And then we go about as far west as Ohio within our rainforest distribution. After that, we're going to have to be coordinating 3PL distribution. So that's how it would work for you, Stephen, in Portland. You would coordinate shipping. We'd give you our best rate on the pops, and you would probably get fewer shipments, but more large shipments. So for the West Coast, you don't want too much of your profits to be tied up in transportation. So you probably would want to invest in a little bit more storage, get larger shipments less frequently, if that makes sense. But we've got the pops in-house here, and we have a distributor that's happy to pick things up at any point in time, every day, 7 days a week. And usually I would say it takes 2 to 4 days to get to the West Coast in a reefer truck. Samantha asked, I'll pop this one up there as well. If plan to start at the beginning of the new season, when should you apply? I would suggest getting started now. We will have a promo coming mid-July and would be happy to get people in now so they can be trained during the slower season over the winter and ready to really roll once it gets warm. So Samantha, I'd recommend getting started now, and we will have a promotion that we'll be announcing in the next couple of days, which you guys would be applicable for if you're able to get rolling in July. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about it. The big piece that requires a commitment if you're not near Atlanta is we do require you to come to our Discovery Day. This is where we are talking about the business, sharing the ins and outs of the business, and it's a great opportunity to learn about us, for us to meet you, and we would do some interviewing at that point when you're here. So that's a requirement as well. to come there. That's really the only thing that can slow people down, because we typically do those every other Friday. We actually have one tomorrow, the 18th and the 21st, if you're interested. But that part can be what can slow people down. Other than that, we can usually get started pretty quickly. I'm not sure I understand, Stephen. Let me see if it'll let me add you here. So this is a good question. I just want to get some clarity on it, I guess. The 15 days, what I was referring to, sorry for any confusion, is our credit terms. So that's when you would be responsible for paying. Let's say you got $5,000 worth of pops or $1,000 worth of pops. You would pay for those 15 days after you receive them. Best by date on our pops is always over 12 months. And when you receive them, we guarantee that it's going to be over 6 months. A best by date, as you may or may not know, is not a health thing. There's nothing about the pop that is going to be unhealthy. And it has, in our experience, more to do with storage than anything else. So keep that in mind. And hopefully that answers your question. Please elaborate if it does not. All right, that is the end of the slideshow piece. I would love to see some applications roll in. It kind of is the way to kick off the process. Just go to kingofpops.com/cart franchise if you're interested. It's a really simple process. Happy to walk you through that individually. Really putting this call together so more people can kind of comfortably get in this process without feeling like they're getting sold to. So I'm going to pop my screen up and talk through a few things that I think are kind of unique to our business. Yeah, you should be good to go. I think it'd be most similar, Stephen, to selling in Denver. A little further, obviously, to get to Portland, but it would be the same setup where they're getting, once every month, probably a pretty large shipment, and then they're selling through those. I wanted to explain kind of how our process works on the catering side, which is a really, really big part of our business. Leads come in through our website or you add them. But let's show this flow first. People submit a request here and it populates our CRM, which you'll see we're constantly getting inbound deals, and we get, about 200 or 300 a week, most weeks, of people that are interested in having us out for events. If it's in your territory at this point, it is automatically assigned to you, and you would be, getting this deal to the finish line. You'd be responsible for all that. If it isn't, let me see if there's a good example of one. Usually people snatch these up pretty quickly, but here are like some unowned deals. So these are deals that come in and no one has agreed to do this deal yet, and it's out of somebody's territory. So these come at a first come, first served basis. If you're in a market like Atlanta or Charlotte or Nashville or Richmond, Charleston, where we've been for a long time, there's going to be a ton of inbound. If you're in a new market like Houston or Denver, it's going to be slower, but people will start to over time reach out, and this is how all of that's managed. If you're adding your own deal, you would just create the deal here and go through the same kind of questions to get it into the CRM. This is how we stay organized. There's a lot of great automation on this. There's a lot of great ways to check in with customers, to get surveys on how we did service-wise, and this is a big part of what we have built out for you. The other part from the marketing that I'm not going to go into too much detail at this point in time is Square. We are set up with the Square franchise suite, so we have marketing capabilities where you can send unlimited emails to your customers, texts to your customers, et cetera, et cetera. Great question by Dean that I wanted to pull up really quick. Most jurisdictions don't require much because this is a prepackaged product. Some parts of Florida want you to have a commissary. It's different depending on where you are. So happy to help on a one-off basis. I do think Florida is different than Georgia. We have about 6 people operating down there. And I think usually the best case is to connect. If you're going through this process, I really recommend connecting with a few people that are already in it. And they'd be able to point you in the right direction for that. But even within Florida, there's probably some different rules. Most in Georgia, for example, there's nothing. You need a business license, obviously, to go and sell stuff. But other than that, not much. But each state is different, and ChatGPT is a good place to start. Probably not a good place to end, to find out kind of what are the basics of what you might need to get set up. The important part is it's a prepackaged product, so you don't need typically, well, you wouldn't need a 3-compartment sink or restrooms or the things like that because you're selling out of a cart. This is a great one too. Any assistance with facilitating deals at major league arenas? Yeah, I think this is a win-win for us to be in more venues. We are at the Atlanta Braves Stadium. We are at the Gwinnett Stripers Stadium. We're at the Denver Rockies Baseball Stadium. And we're constantly adding sports venues. Baseball is really the sweet spot because the seasons align so well. So minor league baseball, it does really well. But yeah, we can assist with that. We have relationships with a lot of the concessionaires. It's a slightly different agreement because it hinges on them accepting you. So we would sign a different agreement, typically without minimum royalties and stuff like that, for the venues specifically. We also just are helping with large events all the time. We constantly have people reaching out in New York and LA and all of the large cities for big marketing activations. It's a gigantic opportunity that will really be cool once we have a little bit wider footprint that I'm excited about. But happy to help there. Certainly willing to help. Certainly want to help. It's a win-win on the venues. Good question. Let's see. The last thing I wanted to share was just this. This is the map that you get to if you go to kingofpops.com/franchise map. And this is where you can see what we've already sold. So yellow is committed territories. And then red is for sale. So there's only a couple for sale. And then some of the other colors are for us internally just to look at in communications. So you don't need to really worry about anything other than the blue, the yellow, and the red. If you want to talk to somebody that has a for sale territory, certainly reach out. I've gone a little bit long, and I'm happy to stay on, but does anyone on the call have any questions at all before we leave? Certainly shoot me an email. I'll put it up there. Let's see if this works. This is my email. If you have any questions or want to talk more about this in your specific circumstances, please reach out, steve@kingofpops.com. Like I said, we've got a promotion coming up in a couple of days, so keep your eyes out for that. Would love to get you onboarded with that. Do the franchises set up the wholesale agreements with stadiums, or is that done via your headquarters? Allie, I think that's a similar question to Steven. Maybe I don't understand, but we typically do the vending ourselves. So we would be vending at these stadiums. Wholesale is an opportunity as well. You are able to sell to wholesale opportunities, and we would work with you on that if each of those is kind of going to be unique depending on the concessionaire. But if you have a specific one in mind, I'm happy to chat through it. I'm just going to hang out here. I don't have anything else planned to say, but I'll just hang on here for a few minutes because I know there was some technical difficulties to get started. And definitely ask any questions if you have them. And super, super excited to have you guys here. It's a fun thing to do. So fun, in fact, that I wrote a book about it. Work is fun. I love it. I love this part of it. I love talking to people that are thinking about getting started. And then we love helping people be successful once they have started. It's a fun gig. It's a hard gig. It's a simple gig. But it is something that I'm passionate about. We've got a passionate, awesome team here that's ready to help you be successful. And I think it's a special place. So I will stand by for a few minutes. And if no one else has any questions, we will go ahead and log off. And thank you so much for your time. So Stephen asked how quickly you get signed up. I'll pop this one up. Great question. In case we got anyone else there. Um, so training is a 3-day training in Atlanta. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of information. And after that, you're ready to roll. So we can even coordinate the shipping after you've paid. So the pops are there when you get back from training. I would say there's a 14-day requirement on the FDD. So once I send that, go ahead and sign it. If you can make it to one of the upcoming discovery days, tomorrow's probably not happening for you, but maybe you want to fly in. Happy to have you. The 18th or the 21st. After the discovery day, usually takes us, if we don't have any other interest in that area, we're usually able to make a decision within a day or two after discovery day and the live interviews. If you come to discovery day early on in the process, we might still ask for a business plan. So that can take a couple of days. And then from there, we would be able to award the territory, train. So I'm saying 3 to 5 weeks is probably, if you were to be pushing as hard as you could right now, the realistic timeline. Higher end really has more to do on scheduling training and scheduling discovery days. But if you're willing to make those work on our schedules that we've got currently published, you can be at it as quickly as 3 weeks. It's a good question. Is this something I can do on the side, or does it need to be full time? Um, in order to be successful, we think you need to be out and about 5 times a week. So it depends on how busy you like to be. If you're trying to do it all yourself and be out 5 times a week, that's going to be a heck of a lot of work. Um, you can also have other people doing it. So some success stories we've had have been large families. We've also had people that have other businesses where they've got an employee pool that they're able to pull from. Or of course you can hire people. It could be your nephew, could be your cousin, could be your best friend to go work a pop cart, which is a pretty fun gig. And if you're willing to do that, you can certainly do it as a part-time gig, almost no time. You would just be doing the admin, which can be a lot or a little depending on how busy you are, but you can certainly get started part-time. We love to encourage people to grow their territories, and hopefully it can be a thing that they can do for themselves. Thanks for the question, Marcos. The book is available on Amazon. Leave a positive review if you'd be so kind, if you do get it. But yeah, I wrote that last year. It's about the King of Pop's journey and what I think is fun about work and doing work. So I'm really proud of it. So first year Cartrepreneur wanting to do this full time. My general advice would be to start now and use the end of this season as a learning curve. And if you have another job, keep that job for the rest of this season. So let's say you got started, you said, let's do it, you're full steam ahead. You start in August. I'm not sure where you're located, Samantha, but if you were to get started in Georgia, you'd have 3+ months of really busy season still. You're going to learn a lot those first 3 months, learn what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And then next year, I feel like you'd be ready to go full time. If you don't have any of a cushion financially, that's the way I'd suggest doing it. If you can afford to dive in, and that's always going to start you off a little bit better. So first year, you really want to have as many relationships lined up as possible when you start. And those relationships are easier to build once you're kind of signed up, or at least far along in the process to sign up. Cool. Yeah, Lana, you'd be ready to roll. How do you help with finding events or places to sell pops? That's primarily the Cartrepreneur's responsibility. We have a database of wholesale type accounts that we can share with you. We also can share churches, schools. We have access to these lists, but we don't have the relationships built in. So it's your job to kind of reach out and connect with them. For a lot of the East Coast, we have relationships already there that we're able to train you on how to send marketing emails to. We're sending marketing emails to our catering contacts um, already, which yours will get added to that puzzle as well, which is fun. Good question. If I didn't answer it, keep it rolling. Whew, well, good question from Instagram. King of Pops is a great fit for a handful of reasons. I think the biggest three are that it has a low startup cost. So I think you'd be hard pressed to find a lower startup cost food business. Kona, for example, is $250,000, I believe, approximately, according to their older FDDs. And next would be flexibility. So it can fit part time, like we've said, it can become a full time thing. I guess to go back to the first one, there's a pretty good opportunity to make your money back relatively quickly because it's a smaller investment. You can make your investment back more quickly. And then the last one is I think it's a lot of fun. Like janitorial services are popular franchises. You could start a oil changing place. You could even get like a Zaxby's or something if you have enough money. But I think the King of Pops franchise opportunity, I know it, is a lot of fun. And I think that's the biggest differentiator in what we lean into. But I'd love to be able to have the chance to talk to you about that in person if you're watching. All right. If there are no more questions, I'm going to wrap this baby up. But thank you for your time. I will drop just for you, Marcos, the link for the book into the chat. Thank you. Oh, wow. It finally went live on LinkedIn. That's funny. Teen, if you're still there.